I have this problem because I don't know how my game will look, and I wanted to make a dark fantasy. I have this tiny level with a bunch of blockouts and kind of the layout I want. I'm gonna see if I can replicate this screenshot from Twilight Princess, where it's like forestry, and in the process I will figure out how my game will look by replicating a dark fantasy art style. I started out by changing this skybox, so it was more inclined more realistic and bluish. I had one pre-made and I'm really proud of it, and I messed around a bit with the lighting to get it right. After that I started modeling and texturing. So I did some magic on Blender. I added a geometry node so it would generate these leaves with one exact plane that I pre-made, and then it would spread it out in this volume area. And then it would, with a texture that I got from Kenny Assets, a really cool free resource website, I decorated it and painted it green. Eventually it spanned all over this area. And it's turned out really good. I like the effect, but I can make it better. This is what I end up doing in Blender to get that effect. What I did was I pretty much have a box volume and some geometry nodes to change it around. And this is not the desired effect I would have wanted, but it gets really close, and I think I can improve a bit later. I opted for changing the cone from the leaf cone to a plane, and it looks so weird, I'm not gonna lie, but it's way more performant at least, and there's a lot of less geometry. And I tried another thing in Blender. Let me see if I can show that up. So here in Blender, I had an add-on that comes with Blender that pretty much designs trees for you. But however, when I added the leaves, it was really high poly, and I didn't really like it, and it didn't fit with the vibe and everything. So pretty much make an empty Blender project and then put the tree there and do it manually, maybe with some curves, and see where it goes from there. Okay, so this is what I've been doing last night. Last night I changed the texture and made it a quad, and changed it to this texture by Kenny. I like how it looks, and it looks quite good in game. I'm sure later. But these are the trees I tried earlier, like the really high poly ones, and I kind of like the vibe, but I'm working still on it. I need to figure out how it goes, but I like how it looks right now. Here is what it looks like in game. I like it because it looks more dynamic, even though I think I can make the shadow effect using a material, but still like the vibe. I am also tweaking around with the shadows, and as you can tell, there's like a bit of cascading, but I'm still working on it. And yeah. To give extra more context to what I'm doing, this is what I'm pretty much doing. I want to replicate this style. The shadows are turning out great because I'm right now trying to replicate this effect on the trees, but I'm still working on it. And I did a tiny, I did a light study, well, color. I did a color study here, and I checked each pixel, and noticed that there's not a lot of this is the only bit of saturated color. Everything is very desaturated in the HSV scale thingamajiggy, and right here, the deeper it goes, the more desaturated and white it goes, while the things that are like walls are straight up darkened and a bit more saturated, but not a lot. And things on the foreground are more saturated, and on the background and on the floor tend to be saturated. This is kind of the style I'm trying to replicate, but still. Okay, so another thing I want to add is that I'm gonna try to texture this, since it's pretty bland. But I'm gonna have to do the textures from hand out of zero because yeah, I want to try it out with the thing I learned from the resource, from the reference image from Zelda, and see what I can replicate. I don't like this grass, but I think I can do better, and from what I can tell, it's just a bunch of noise maps. patched together, and it looks like grass. It's weird. It looked like a realistic texture, but since it's low res, it essentially just works like that. At least on the Zelda one. Let's see what I can get. To Blender, I think. Okay, let's focus on the grass texture real quick. I did a small trick real quick. I locked in the colors and then I tried some shading stuff and I found this. It's a bit seamed, but look, the grass looks so good. It's the noise texture I found, and I did some detail, like literally the detail section here in the shader, and it turned out great. Maybe not the seams, but I can fix that real quick, but still it's horrible. I like how it turned out. Actually, the seams are not hard to see. I mean. Here's 4, so I gotta fix that. Okay, I'm really proud of how this turned out. Finally, I pretty much believe that I'm very close to replicating the style. I added some fog, and I did the texture thing on the walls. It looks pretty sweet. And I also worked around the sky and everything. It just looks, it's starting to fit in. I might need to work around a bit with the shade of green, but it just fits in, sorta. I need to add like trees and stumps and maybe retexture these two trees, but man, it's working. And it's looking really hype, I'm not gonna lie. And right here, I added some grass over there. Just works. Now I fixed the seamless texture here. And also I turned these into a seamless. This one is a little hard to notice, but there's like stripes on it. It's cool. And this looks awesome, not gonna lie. Really excited of how it's looking up. I think I'm like 50% there. Maybe changing the color of the grass, but still, it looks awesome.